You might have seen the news yesterday that later this month, One Nation is planning to launch a Canberra branch of the party in a move, they say, to capitalise on Conservative voters' dissatisfaction with the major parties. To talk to us about this, One Nation Senator for New South Wales, Senator Sean Bell, is with us. Of course, he replaced Senator Warwick Stacey, who was forced to resign from the Senate due to health issues. Sean, good morning.
Good morning, Stephen. Thanks for having me on.
This is a big move. I guess Canberra overall not known for its conservatism. What sort of reception do you think you're going to get here?
Stephen, the strength of a political party isn't measured by how well it does in its strongest areas. It's measured by how hard it fights in the tough seats. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing in Canberra. And look, I think the establishment's in for a bit of a shock. I mean, we look at the last federal election, because you had Family First and Fenner picking up nearly 8% of the vote. They were really, in all of the ACT, the only serious Conservative alternative to the Liberals. And so look, we're aware of that. And we've had so much feedback from people on the ground in Canberra who are completely dissatisfied with the Liberal Party. They feel like they're a carbon copy of the Labor Party. And so I think we give people the opportunity to join a party that represents Australian values and puts Australia first. In Canberra, I think the feedback's going to be really positive.
But Sean, surely the risk here is, because you've said you're going to run candidates in all three lower house seats and for the Senate as well. Don't you risk just handing seats to Labor by splitting the Conservative vote?
Well, the beauty of the Australian political system is that it is a preferential political system. And so, Labor Party hasn't lost any seats because it receives preferences from the Greens, right? So, look, I think the danger of not doing it is greater because at One Nation, we fight for Conservative issues. And the fact is, unless you're in that fight and you are pushing for those Conservative issues, they don't get a hearing. Just look at what's happened since the last federal election. At last federal election, the Nationals and the Liberal Party, they were both supporting net zero. At One Nation, we took a strong principled stand on that. We've fought hard on that. And now you see the Nationals come across and the Liberals are on the verge of coming across. At least they say they are. So I actually think the real danger is not being involved, not being in the fight and ceding ground to these other political parties.
All right, let's look at the nuts and bolts, though. And I'll single out the seat of Bean, for instance, where Dave Smith, the Labor member, was on a knife edge and nearly lost that seat to a Teal independent. What do you think happens if One Nation runs in that seat? Don't you risk handing it to a Teal? Because you're more likely that you're going to pick up Labor voters who are on the more conservative end of the party than you are from those people that voted for the Teal independent at that last election. Don't you effectively? Because, I mean, and again, I'd say you'd rather a Conservative government, a Liberal government, than a Labor government, and I'd say that you'd prefer a Labor government than a Teal government.
Mate, I think in the ACT federally, the Liberal Party has been doing a good job of losing on its own.
Well, no,
you know what I mean? I'm not here to help other parties get elected. We're here to get One Nation elected. We're here to support Conservative voters. And like I said, it's a preferential system, mate. I'm zero concern about that.
So is the focus here just on federal politics, or do you see yourself making a foray into local politics here in the ACT as well?
Yeah, 100%, mate. We are launching branches across the country because we want to give Conservative Australians and One Nation supporters a voice at every level. And so we're launching branches on federal seat basis, but we're giving the opportunity to look at state politics. And, as someone who's a big fan of politics, I've looked very closely at the system in the ACT, and it is a very interesting one. And I think under the Hare-Clark system, there is opportunities, if we get good candidates to put their hand up, good branches to support them, that we can start making inroads on territory level.
Well, I like to call it the Duckworth-Lewis system because I think it makes as much sense. If you can work it out, you're certainly doing better than I am.
It's only taken me about a decade.
Yeah, I can imagine. I guess the issue here is when you look at the surge in One Nation popularity in recent polls, I mean, some have got you at about 12%, others have got you up around 15%. You're still not a party of government. At what point do you... And the only criticism I would have of One Nation in a broad sense is that your policy positions are largely statements rather than detail. How much more detailed do you have to be now that you're starting to get a bit more support?
I would say that I there's a lot of, I would encourage voters to go have a look at some of the detail of our policies, our federal policies on our website. I think we took some fantastic policies and some fantastic policy detail to the last federal election, and I think that's one of the reasons why we had such an excellent result. But that's also one of the reasons why we're launching branches across the entire country, because we know that good policy comes from listening to the people on the ground. And so we want to have that opportunity. We want to form these branches. We want to hear what people have to say, and that'll help inform our policies, our large federal policies, and even more seat-based policies. So part of our growth is a strategy to develop stronger policies.
So you're launching the branch on the 27th of November, which I imagine is that's the end of the last sitting week, isn't it? What sort of response have you gauged so far? I mean, what sort of feedback have you had, and how many people have registered to attend the event?
Mate, the feedback so far has been fantastic. I actually haven't checked to see how many people are registered, but I've got absolutely no doubt that we're going to fill that space. And I think again, that's because One Nation, people are excited. I mean, they see the disarray in the Liberal Party at a federal level, with Susan Ley struggling to hold their position together on net zero, and also at an ACT level, it looks like there's a bit of disarray there too, mirroring the federal level. Yeah. And so I just think people are very excited to hear that One Nation is putting its hand up to give Conservatives in the ACT some real representation.
Well, there's also rumours the National Party might be having a crack at it too, so that there could be a three-cornered contest in that regard. Sean, I appreciate your time this morning.
Cheers, Stephen.
All the best. Senator Sean Bell, One Nation Senator for New South Wales.